Hello boys and girls, this is your teacher Miss Arlette, and today's story is called Solomon Built the Temple, 1 Kings 6 through 8. Our story begins with Moses on Mount Sinai. Here God gave him the 10 Commandments on tablets. But God gave Moses specific instructions to keep the tablets in an ark, which is a wooden box covered in gold like you see here. God also told Moses to keep the ark in a tabernacle, which is a tent. This is where God would live amongst his people. The ark and God lived in the tabernacle for hundreds of years. Now in our story we see King David. King David did not think it was okay for him to live in a palace while God lived in a tent. But God did not want David to build the temple. Instead, it would be David's son, Solomon, who would build it. Do you remember King Solomon? We learned that one night God asked him, "What would you like to have?" And Solomon replied, "Wisdom." So Solomon decided to build the temple. He used 30,000 men to do the work. There was not a single hammer or nail used. It took 7 years to finish the temple, but when it was done, it was magnificent. Look at how impressive the temple was. It was much bigger and more sturdy than the tent. The inside of the temple was covered in cedar wood, and there were beautiful carvings onto the wood. The inside of the temple was also covered in gold. So this is where the ark and God would live from now on inside this beautiful temple. But only high priests would be allowed to be in the presence of God. Years later, the temple was destroyed. And so now we ask, well, where does God live now? Where can I find him? Where can I get close to him? The answer is Jesus. When Jesus came to live among us, he changed everything. He died on the cross for us. We don't need the temple anymore because Jesus made it possible to be in the presence of God all the time. God lives in our hearts now, and we can go to him anytime we want through prayer. The story of Solomon shows us that we don't need a special temple or place to be in the presence of God. Jesus makes it possible to be close to God. Thank you, boys and girls, for listening so attentively to today's story. I pray you are staying home safe. Lots of hugs from your teacher, Miss Arlette.